morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for week 2 of From Classroom to Boardroom, a virtual event series addressing issues of equity in the workplace and inclusive economic recovery in communities across the country. We'd like to thank Virginia Tourism Corporation for their support in bringing this program to life, as well as countless other partners and collaborators in Charlottesville, Virginia, and beyond. With that, we'd like to welcome you to today's session, Black Travel, Tourism and Hospitality as a Vehicle for Equity and Recovery. I'm thrilled to invite our panelists to stage, an incredible group of entrepreneurs here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, as well as Rita McClenny, our moderator for today and president and CEO of Virginia Tourism Corporation. Rita, I'll turn things over to you.
Thank you, Ben. Good morning, everyone out there in Tom Land. It's great to be on this panel as the moderator, and you are in for a real treat for this hour. And we're going to begin by talking about tourism and hospitality in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It is an integral part of the Virginia economy. It contributes $28 billion on an annual basis in visitor spending, and over 300,000 jobs are related to the travel sector in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And we know that this topic of Black travel is extremely important and very vital to a part of that economic success and story, but also for community building and for learning all about what enhances our lives through travel. And we know that when we travel, we do it with people that we love, doing the things that we love. And every time we take a trip, we are changed in a way. And you're changed by the people that you engage with, that you interact with, and that travel is intricate to our lives. And we can't wait to get back to it in a bigger way. And this pandemic has certainly unbalanced us and set us off in a way. But this morning, we're going to talk with entrepreneurs who are in the travel and hospitality space, in the arts, in community changing, and in building dynamic organizations. So I'm going to start with the lovely Kelly Lemon. She is Black excellence, a powerful voice in the city of Richmond. She is involved in Urban Hang Suite, not involved, it's her business. What am I talking about? She is the owner, entrepreneur of Urban Hang Suite. She is a part of the Jackson Ward Collective, Black RVA. She has a podcast, and she's a radio and TV personality. If you don't know Kelly, then where have you been? Also next, Drew Boyd. He's owner of Tidewater Waves, headquartered in Norfolk, Virginia. He's also a filmmaker. Xavier is a gentleman. Xavier Duckett is from Star City. He's president and CEO of Humble Hustle. It's a design, media, and marketing platform. He's also a member of the Collective in Roanoke, and he's a community builder. And the man who is really omnipresent and a small business whisperer, Floyd Miller. Floyd is president and CEO of the Metropolitan Business League, and his organization is dedicated to building strong and vibrant enterprises across the metropolitan region. So join us and join me in welcoming them, and we're happy to be with you. And we want to kick it off here by really looking at our industry. And Kelly, what opportunities have resulted for you in the shifts that happened during this COVID period in the past year?
Well, I think a lot of opportunities happened because they had to happen, right? We shifted our businesses to not quit, not to give up, right? So we put things in place that we probably were waiting to do a little bit later. Our websites, our delivery services, figuring out if we have a relationship with our banker, things that we just weren't thinking about as our businesses were growing, but because we were forced to be in a pandemic, we were forced into a pandemic and then we were forced to sit still, we had to shift our whole business model. One thing about Black entrepreneurs is that we're not going to give up. We are on the shoulders of some ancestors that, you know, started this work, and the resiliency of them is in our blood. And so that's one of the things that I noticed the most about, specifically in Richmond, the Black business owners almost kind of got a boost. They almost got this sense of energy, like, okay, we are now in a position to make some changes, to get some help, to get some assistance. How do we lean on each other? How do we form these bonds through these different collectives to continue this work? So I think that we just had to shift our mindset and know that we had to kind of just get it done.
Thank you for that, Kelly. And Floyd, in terms of Kelly talking about changing and businesses, how does your work help a business look at their practices or make an influential decision to really adapt?
Well, I think, each day, I wake up trying to think of better ways to support our businesses. And, when I first took on the position, I knew that we needed to really expand our services. We needed to focus on our mission statement, produce bigger outcomes, increase our visibility, and focus on our mission statement. And so I think ultimately, we just focus on our 5 pillars, and that's customer service, information, support, convenience, and value. And we always focus on those 5 things to try to increase opportunities for our members.
And Xavier, does that ring a bell for what, in beginning your business and looking at building a customer base, how do those mission statements and principles, how do they inform you?
Absolutely. I know when it all hit, for us, kind of like Kelly said, it was more of, we took on the mindset of, in crisis, there's always opportunity. And we knew, okay, this is what we've been doing. So nothing should stop us just because something is happening. If anything, we should increase what we're doing within the community. We should increase what we're doing with kids. We should increase our visibility with clothing or our program. So everything that he said is exactly aligned with everything that we do. I believe that during the time that everything was happening, it was very much a togetherness and a pivotal moment for Black business to have that platform. And everything was shut down. Everything you had to focus on things. So it was that time of, let's stand on your feet and make sure that you're doing what you said that you were going to do.
Thank you. So Drew, what has been the single most inspiring factor that gives you the confidence to go after an interview, or what's had an impact on Tidewater Waves to be where it is today?
That's easy. Virginia, of course, is number one. It really inspired me because I left Virginia to go to Washington, D.C. to attend Howard University before I even turned 18. So a lot of these opportunities and things that the 7 cities in Virginia as a whole had to offer, I never really got to experience until I returned about 4 years ago. When I returned, it was this creative surge that was happening within the creative community. And I was, just really inspired by everything I was seeing and the development that was going on out here. So, used my base, which is graphic design, and got into the studio at Slover and just started to create, and it just kind of created itself, really.
So Drew, can you talk about Slover and what this part of the library meant to you as a resource? Because I think it's very fascinating, and how you took an opportunity and this space and you made it your own, but it was like an incubator for you. Can you talk about your Slover experience and how that really helped you launch your enterprise?
Right, yeah. So beginning, I do want to talk about the people and the environment that, Slover houses. Is very comfortable. The people are very welcoming. And that really gave me a comfortable space to work in. The resources that they provide, it's just really out of this world. And you just need a library card. So I encourage everyone to really check out the Slover Library in downtown Norfolk. But they have 4 different studios. It's called the Creative Studios. They have the sound studio, which is the most recent one that opened up, the production studio, which houses, videography, photography work and equipment for everyone to use, and also the maker studio and the design studio. So those are studios that, house different things. In the maker studio, you have 3D printing, more centered, directed towards the arts, and the design studio, which has a full Adobe suite. So you can go in there and do Photoshop, and it's, full access to the public. So it really gave me the resources and opportunity to learn and get on YouTube and just really dive in and figure it out.
That's great. Kelly, creativity. Talk about creativity and all the things that you do, because you're in so many spaces and so influential in using the places and spaces that you work in to make them better. How does creativity inform your day-to-day business decisions and other decisions?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an integral part, as Drew and Xavier kind of said. We shifted and brought that forward. As a people, we're very creative. We'll take a situation, you add some music, you add some food to it, and you got a whole experience at this point. And you might be learning about history. And I think that's how do we take our day-to-day activity and find the joy in it through creativity, through social media. Like I said, TikTok is so explosive right now to the younger generation. Our generation is still on Facebook and Instagram, but how do you use that younger generation? How do you pull them in? How do you get that engagement in different areas through creativity? Art is huge in the city of Richmond. We are very expressive through all forms of art, but right now through our murals. And so we're telling stories through different projects where we've turned like walls downtown into stories. Like you can really see what's happening through these pieces of art. Shout out to Mending Walls. They're getting national recognition, through their art project. But I think that's how we're being creative. And we are reaching out to Black creatives too, which until I started doing this work, I didn't realize there are a lot of you all out there, but you're reaching your capacity in terms of web designers and graphic artists and printmakers and all of those different forms. So that's exciting to hear, but how do we train more people to be in that creative space? And how do we ask people to look at Black creatives first? I think that is a goal. And how do we hire those within Black businesses? How do we help each other that way as well?
Thank you, Kelly. So Floyd, for your businesses, using technology and balancing the scales, how does creativity come into play with your influence and inspiring your business, your members?
Well, I think even prior to COVID, we were already looking at ways to be more innovative and develop new initiatives, like providing online resources for entrepreneurship training through our collaboration with Startup Virginia, another nonprofit here in Virginia. We launched an entrepreneurship certificate course for members because we know now it's going to be more conducive for those members to do those types of programs and education in their homes. And so we were already looking at ways to try to provide grants and microloans for businesses, because we know 42% of businesses fail due to the lack of capital. And during COVID, we knew that over 60% of those businesses were going to close up. And so we were able to develop a project called the We Care RVA Rebuild Project. It's a $1.5 million emergency grant fund that we provided support to businesses impacted by COVID-19, as well as social justice demonstrations. And so, especially for Black businesses, we know that a lot of those businesses were struggling. And so that's how we were able to be innovative, by providing technical assistance for those businesses and also providing capital for them during these unprecedented times.
Thank you. Xavier, for your business, how will it inspire Black travel to Virginia?
I think, kind of like Floyd said, within our mission, it's creating innovative and inclusive spaces. So within the nonprofit sector, our Humble Hikes program is getting young Black kids outside. So we're getting, young Black people across the state, across the coast, to to get the lights on Roanoke and the mountains and the things that we have in the outdoor spaces. Within the clothing, you know, we're getting our designs and things out there that make people realize that there's a lot of talent in the city. I think Roanoke kind of gets left out a little bit in the conversation a lot. And I've made it my mission to make sure that with my platform that I've always given the credit where it's due in this city, that we have just as much talent and we have just as much talent as any other city, and just like any other city in Virginia. So I would say with my creativity and creating period, we're just constantly just trying to make sure that the platform is set for Black creatives and for young people, and so that they can see outside of this scope of Virginia, and so that the scope of Virginia can see into outside of Virginia can see into us as well.
Now, if I've seen your website and your products,
Mm-hmm.
how do you infuse the Blue Ridge or Roanoke into that so people know they're inspired by
Absolutely.
where you are and they want to come there and really, you know, be close to the Humble Hustle brand?
Absolutely. Roanoke is tough. Roanoke is like I said, we don't get the platform like a lot of other cities do. So it's constantly being creative and then beyond creative. So within the clothing sector, I try to get a lot of imagery of the city. I try to get a lot of imagery of the city that I know that looks just like any other city. I try to make sure that I provide the platform for artists that are doing amazing things that don't get that platform to be seen. We just did a collaboration with 4 major artists, some artists that have worked with, you know, big rappers and artists in the entertainment platform. And we designed one piece of clothing for each one of them. And, you know, I advertised it and I promoted it and the line was out the door. You know, we had a line around the block for people that wanted to come to that. And I think it was just because we took all of the talent within the city and used it and said, you know what, for once we're going to put pride in this city and we're going to use the talents and we're going to use the artists in this city. So I think to answer your question, we just make sure that, at least I do, I make sure that I try to use home first and give home the opportunity and give the young Black creatives the opportunity to be seen if I have the platform.
So Kelly, drafting off of that, how does your Urban Hang Suite as a destination inspire Black travel to this region, to the Richmond region?
Yeah, we're more than a coffee shop. If you've seen, you know, our commercials that are running nationally, I mean, we are a social cafe. We're a destination spot where the community meets, and that was very important to me. Also, the location is in a crossbreed between historic Jackson Ward, which is the birthplace of Black entrepreneurship, home of Maggie L. Walker, John Mitchell, some other notable Black Virginians. We literally started Black commerce in Jackson Ward in the state of Virginia. But then also I'm in the art district and I'm also downtown Richmond, right near our 2 major hotels downtown. So the traveler in general is getting a lot of history, you're getting politics, you're getting culture when you travel to the Urban Hang Suite, because once you walk out those doors, you see everything that is encompassing Richmond, from the community that may be displaced to those doctors and lawyers that are walking, you know, to and fro downtown. Also, the VCU student is a major component in the downtown makeup and who is kind of traveling through there. VCU has done a great job of making their student diverse and then also comfortable and wanting them to stay in Richmond to start their family, to start their career. That's one thing about Richmond. We will allow you to, if you have an idea and you want to own a business, do it. There are so many resources, MBL, Chamber, that can help you get started on your business. So I think what we're doing is we're creating our own person, so to say. We're changing the narrative. We are making you come to Richmond, and then you kind of look around and say, oh, okay, I'll stay for a little bit.
So Kelly, do you have like live from Urban Hang Suite? Like, what is that engagement also? Like, people are there telling others that they're there. Hey, come on. This is like really space for conversation and, like you said, history, and it's happening.
Yeah. Before the pandemic, yes. The running joke is it's the Urban Don't Hang Suite. And I say that because I am very intentional about our community, right? And so everyone that comes into the coffee shop or the Hang Suite will be served, whether or not you have money to buy your cup of coffee or not. But through that is the education of, I have to give you your coffee and you have to go. You have to put your mask on. Unfortunately, you can't sit down, and so all of those things have been a challenge. And so we've just made it so that the staff can be safe, is that you cannot sit right now in the Hang Suite. But as things start to open up and we get a little bit more comfortable with all the vaccinations and things, it'll go back to that. But as a traveler is coming through Richmond, we make sure that when you come in the Hang Suite, we send you off to different places in Richmond to explore. So that you're a full picture.
Which is very much appreciated, because, we are managing our lives in a way that must be safe, but also in a way that we still can have experiences. Because right now, outdoor is really where the action is, whether someone is on the river or they're going to a park or they're just hanging in their pod. So that's really a wonderful way to keep your voice out there, to keep your messaging going. But at such time when people are coming back indoors, you're going to be well suited and well situated to invite them back to have a seat and linger for a while and literally hang, right?
Yes.
So Ford, what do you see on the forefront? The recovery has lacked balance for a lot of Black businesses. So how do you use the resources? I know you mentioned some programs to really coach and help businesses scale themselves, but also keep going.
That's a great question. Again, we want to provide as much information as possible. Unfortunately, a lot of Black and brown businesses struggle with getting information. And as I mentioned in our 5 pillars, we really want to get that information out in a timely fashion. And so it's our job to kind of be that liaison between the business owners and all of the many resources that are out there. And so, we just want to continue to do that and support our businesses and help them sustain during these times.
Are you a matchmaker?
I think I am, yeah.
Tell us about one of your matches.
Well, we really, when it comes to matchmaking, I think it's important for us to really look at procurement opportunities for businesses. And so, we have a strong corporate relationship with different businesses, Dominion Energy, Altria, Capital One. And so I'm always looking at ways to support minority businesses for procurement opportunities. And I think that's the best example of matchmaking.
No, that's a great example. And, when we have businesses that are growing and they know their space that they maybe traditionally have worked in or have their networks and relationships, members of MBL, I believe, would come there because of an extended path and runway to grow and to learn and to network amongst those who are members, but also those who are contributing and have a goal to enhance their exposure to businesses they would not have met otherwise, because it's not necessarily easy, or the access hasn't been there for someone to go knock on the door of a major, Fortune 14 company, of which the 14 are headquartered in Richmond. So we know that. So how do you really create that pathway and opportunity for your own? So, what an incredible resource you are. to businesses that may be in the travel, hospitality sector or any other sector? Because I think this panel really, we have a broad exposure to a lot of different sectors. From an entertainment standpoint, Drew, how do you take the products that you create and have that as a voice for the community to know what is available or what is inspired by someone, maybe be a city council member or another artist? How do you use your platform that way?
Okay, so kind of what you already touched on. I just really like to be a, like you said with Floyd, a matchmaker in some sorts with, having all of these different people and from different industries on one platform, and with the growing and the growing scene in Virginia and the development in Virginia, to really kind of be that platform. And all right, well, you need, the leaders in the community to connect with the artists, and you need certain musicians, they have opportunities in the city. So just really diving into that realm, and also just encouraging everyone to explore ownership. So you have this interview that you're doing with Tideway Waves, chop it up, take it, repost it on your platform, whether that's Instagram or YouTube, and really, create an opportunity for yourself. So take different sound bites. Also, I do graphic design, marketing. So if you all need those resources, and if there's someone that comes across my platform that has mentioned an opportunity, and I do something next week, connecting those people. So really just trying to bring this scene together, and more collaboration. That's what I would say. The underlying word is collaboration.
So give me a pitch. How do you get a big interview?
A big interview? You would be surprised today with social media. It's not that hard. Just Instagram, DM, or, I would love to sit down with you. With the pandemic going on, especially, people are looking to connect. So I just extend that opportunity, like, hey, let's, meet. People are I try to have empathy. We're all going through the same thing. So, people are just looking to get outside and connect with other people. So I try to use that as a certain foundation for my platform. And hey, how can we work together? How can we help each other? How can we get Virginia off the ground? Like you say, just recover from everything that's been going on this past year.
So would you consider yourself a doer, a dreamer, or a driver?
Oh man, I don't want to be cliche and say all three, so I'll pick one. I would say the foundation, I would say dreamer. And then, of course, you put action behind that. But, being a creative and, an artist of sorts, I would say just having so many ideas flowing through my head. So I love to dream and think about where things can go, what ideas I can put forth, where Virginia can be in the next 5 to 10 years. So I would settle with dreamer.
Okay. So Xavier, how do you inspire the youth that you interact and engage with to do one of those things? Are you a doer, dreamer, or driver? And how do you approach the youth to inspire them?
All right. I'll do. Which one do you want me to do first?
Okay. Start with the youth, and then we'll come back to you.
Okay. How do I inspire the youth? So I have several different enterprises. The Humble Hustle Company is a nonprofit organization that empowers Black youth. We have our Humble Hikes program that takes young Black youth in the inner city and exposes them to the outdoors around Roanoke. Like I said, when we all met, if you know Roanoke, it's covered with mountains. So getting those Black kids just exposed to those things that they normally don't see, and so that they can see that this stuff exists and it's in their backyard, it just unlocks their mind. Our young girls program, Pretty Humble, it takes young girls ages 10 to 15, teaches them financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and leadership development skills. These are young girls that are coming from single parent backgrounds, single parent households, and we just want to give them more than they have, and unlock their mind, expose them to things that they normally don't see and things that they normally don't learn in school. I also own Imagine Me Mentoring, and that's where we contract with Roanoke City Schools and provide psychoeducational, social, and emotional learning groups for young kids. So even with clothes, in every capacity that I have and anything that I'm involved in, my biggest thing is to inspire youth. I love to create. I want kids to do more and see more than I've ever seen. but I'm also always pushing the limit for the things that I can see and be exposed to. I do believe that exposure unlocks the paradigm, and it shifts the paradigm to be able to do things that you probably didn't think were capable. So if you ask me, how do I inspire youth? It's just me just providing hope. I'm constantly providing hope. I'm constantly providing a platform for equity. I'm constantly pushing the limit and creating those spaces where people get uncomfortable, but it constantly challenges and pushes that needle, so that people can see, you know what, I'm gonna use my platform to make sure that this marginalized group gets ahead. So that's what I do. I'm a challenger, and I'm very much always going to be pushing people to get uncomfortable.
And are you a doer, a dreamer,
I
or a driver?
I would say mine is complex. After I thought about that, I would say I'm a driver. And I say that because I feel like a driver has already kind of dreamed where they want to go. And so a driver's already in there, and a driver's also a doer as well, because they're doing something. I'm very much a person who dreams, but I go get it. I'm 10 toes to the ground. I'm very much action oriented. There is absolutely nothing you can do that will stop me to getting to my goals. That can sound kind of boastful, but it's very much just my mindset as a young Black entrepreneur in a world that doesn't want me to exist. I have to have that mindset. And I believe that everybody on this panel probably has the same mindset in some capacity, that nothing is going to stop them from getting to their goals. So I would say I'm a driver. I want to be in the front seat, but I also know that I need I need people behind me, left, right, and to the front, to the side, to make sure that I'm getting to where I'm supposed to go.
Hey, Xavier, is 10 toes to the ground, is that an Xavier original?
It can be. It's not though. It's not. No, 10 toes to the ground is just something in our community, in the Black community, I would say it's just very much just 10 toes to the ground just means you're standing solid. You're just,
Okay.
you're not gonna fold with whatever battle comes in front of you.
Alex just put that in the chat, so I think he started something else out.
Nice.
So Floyd, we met over discussions regarding MBL, and you were building a real network of women-owned businesses, and you highlighted them over a series of talks and events. And what segment is next, or how do you look at really creatively, again, building out and growing MBL, and how does that influence our community?
Well, I'm pleased that the MBL is probably one of the fastest growing membership organizations in the state of Virginia. As I mentioned earlier, we have over 600 members currently now. And so I think, again, just being innovative, I believe innovation leads to change, which organically translates to growth. And that's why we're one of the fastest growing organizations in Virginia. Again, thank you for your continued financial support of the MBL, and thank you for being a speaker at our annual women's events. Women-owned businesses are the fastest growing businesses in the country. They continue to fuel the economy and now represent over 50% of businesses here in the United States. And so I think, women-owned businesses are something that we're going to continue to focus on, simply because we have over 60% of our members that are women business owners. And so again, staying innovative and just continuing to provide the services that they need.
Now, Floyd, which category? You doer, driver, or dreamer?
I probably, in my position, I think, I hate to say it, but I have to be all three. But I think a doer stands out the most, because I'm all about action. I just, I don't like wasting a lot of time talking about things. And so I would say I'm more of a doer.
Okay, I can see that. And Kelly Lemon, I know that you have your hands in so many dynamic places, and your influence is statewide. And we appreciate your service to the Virginia Tourism Board.
Thank you.
And just to let everybody out there know that Kelly is a excellent serving member of our Virginia Tourism Corporation Board of Directors. And looking at what you have contributed and our voice for Black travel and all travel, because now that DEI is in the forefront, your contribution to our board, just talk a little bit about your vision and your service and your passion for that.
Yeah, and again, thank you, Rita, for just everything that VTC has given to the Black traveler, the Black business owner. MBL and State of Virginia with the grants that you guys provided were, clutch for us. But I think the influence right now with me is being able to see the whole state. I am a Virginia girl through and through, born in Hampton, lived in Yorktown, went to school in Charlottesville, raised in Hanover. Let me talk about that. And then, love Richmond. But I don't know Roanoke at all. I don't know, the certain parts of the state that I know are beautiful. Getting outside right now is something that is so new and is so on trend too. Black people want to go to the mountains. Black people want to go to the river. Black people want to camp. And this is extremely new. And so I think that being able to travel and see the entire state, know what we're all made up of. We have so much pride in our areas, 757, 804, like when you yell out a Virginia area code, it's like, we get excited about our areas, but we may not know about the entire state as we need to. And so I'm glad to be on the board so that I can go visit and then share, why haven't you been to the Shenandoah Valley? Well, let me take you there so you can see it, because I think sometimes we're just scared to step out of our comfort zone. Are we allowed to go to those places in Virginia? I've actually heard that, do they welcome us there? And so I think using my platform and being able to, step my toe into certain parts of the state that people haven't been to, and then, this is where you can eat at, this is where you can stay out, this is the young Black creatives that are in the city, this is what they're doing. I'm able to use my platform those ways and introduce people to Virginia in a different way.
Well, thank you. So Kelly, doer, driver, dreamer. Who are you?
I am now a dreamer because I want to pay the doers and the drivers to do all of the things that I dream about. I am very much so intrigued by the younger generation. When I say that 21 to 35-year-old that is thinking completely different than I am. And I think sometimes we don't give them the tools and the things that are necessary to say, hey, you got it. Hey, you're next. Let me sit back. Let me be at the table. Hey, so-and-so has next. Bring them on board. So-and-so is doing this. Bring them on board. So I'm a dreamer now because I have the opportunity to give to the doers and the drivers.
That's great. That's great. And I think we all, when we are given so many gifts and blessings, to share those in a traditional way through networking, but also to look for someone along the way that you can help and that you can say a kind word to, or give a positive influence or a reference or an internship. All of those are really building blocks to have our youth dream, to do, and to drive. Because we all, I think within us, have the ability to be any of those and all of those. And on any given day, it can change, right? And the Black traveler is super important to the Virginia tourism mission, to have people visit and have a welcoming experience, to do what they love with the people that they love. I want you all to answer this one. How will the Black traveler make a difference in our recovery? And where do you think the benefits and opportunities lie beyond the pandemic? And I will say that Virginia Tourism, we're focused on the powerful messaging and providing the voice and the creative images for people to see. Kelly said, I don't know if I'm even welcome to go there, or can we go there? So if we put ourselves in the picture and a very diverse looking image of people doing all kinds of beautiful things that hopefully, if they haven't done, they want to try and add to their portfolio, but also just to know, hey, as a family, we can do this, or I can go do this with my friends or people that I care about. So how do you think the Black traveler will begin to have more of an impact in Virginia and helping with, again, just our exposure? Because I will also say that if you look at many of the film productions that have come here, you know, not everybody knows that all of the Harriet Tubman story was filmed in Virginia. Swagger, which is a contemporary show about Kevin Garnett, even though he's from Baltimore, it was filmed in Virginia with O'Shea Jackson. It's for Apple and CBS television. The Walking Dead. So again, all of the creative influences. But again, go back to the question. Xavier, I'll start with you.
So I thought about it as myself as a Black traveler, and being in every space that the panelists live in right now and that work in right now in the Tidewater, in Richmond. And so I look at it immediately for the Black travel. I think it's going to create a sustaining mechanism. The more the Black traveler gets exposed to the different areas of the state, all of the different cities, it provides the same thing everybody's talking about. It provides that platform for that restaurant, that media company to be seen. If somebody comes to Roanoke and shops with me, I get to share that, and then that goes back to their platform and of however many followers, whatever. But if they're from Richmond or they're from Alexandria or whatever, it just starts that algorithm where people in different spaces get to see those different parts of the state. So I think it creates that sustainability for us to sustain. I think with COVID hitting us, with the pandemic, we all rose to the occasion and made sure that we were able to pivot and sustain. Well, now we need the Black traveler to get into these spaces and to come to these spaces in order for us to sustain. So I think that for me, I'm immediately already figuring out, okay, how can I get to Urban Hang Suite, post a dope picture, and get all of my people in Roanoke to figure out how they can get here and check it out. Immediately thinking about Tidewater Waves, of how that can be a collaboration, or how I can speak with Floyd Miller and to enhance my knowledge, so that I can put it back to my kids, to my youth that I work with. They're exposed to other things, and it just creates that algorithm.
Thank you. Floyd?
I like what Kelly said, not being afraid to try new things, step outside your comfort zone and take a trip, make a list and try to do something different each summer. And I think, when you really look at supporting Black businesses, I think as a Black traveler, you have to understand that you're not only supporting the Black business, but you're also supporting the community. I mean, which filters down into the education system, the criminal justice system. And so, I just think it's important that you try new things and continue to expose yourself to new and different areas. But also, generational wealth. I mean, that's something we don't really have enough time to talk about. But, knowing that how important it is for you to spend your dollars in Black businesses, but make sure that you're also in the Black as well, with your own personal finances. And I think that's very important. And knowing some of the resources that are out there. We have a young lady that has an app that focuses on all Black businesses here in Virginia and throughout the United States. And so knowing the resources where you can, really go out and support those businesses.
Thank you. Drew?
Yeah, I would say I think everyone has created a bucket list of sorts during this pandemic. It's really allowed people to look in the mirror and just really think about what they could have accomplished before the pandemic, and like, man, I could have traveled here or experienced this. Like, Roanoke or just out in the country parts of Virginia. You know, we have the beach, we have Tidewater, but there are just so many different components and parts, even in Richmond, the different art that comes with this state as a whole. You know, I think everyone is going to try to, you know, touch different horizons, that everyone has come out of this pandemic. A different person is going to want to explore a variety of parts of Virginia as a whole, and just get out, meet new people, and get a breath of fresh air.
All right, I'm ready for that. Kelly, close us out here. You're our
Yeah.
wrap.
Visit Virginia, visit Virginia. Just again, take a chance, honey. Come on down here and see what, I mean, I know we brag, and we can. Virginians can brag. We are the first. If you were born in this state, you know that 22 odd Africans, you know, came right through in Hampton, and we birthed Black culture. Debate us on it if you want to. You know, Pharrell says that something's in the water for a reason, because we came from there. We stayed in Virginia. We embraced this whole state. So come see what we have to offer. There's so many different pockets, so many different areas of history, of creativity. I think we have it all. So, and we're affordable too. You know, we are that state that you can come and bring your family, and that you can stay in our hotels. You can get to us easy. You can make a day trip to the beach, a day trip to the mountains, a day trip to Northern Virginia to see the, you know, the politics of the world. But you know, my encouragement is just to take a chance on Virginia. We are a different state. We are in a different place. And I just think that when you get here, you will understand why we're Fort lovers. I know that just sounds so cliche, but when you get here and you talk to us, and you really embrace, you know, what's in our blood and what's in our veins, I think that you'll start to understand why we love Virginia so much.
Thank you, Kelly. Perfectly said. Well, thank you all, and everyone out there who has joined us this morning here at Tom for Classroom to the Boardroom, and this panel being a part of that. We appreciate you, and go to virginia.org/Black Travel and check us out.
That's right. Thank you so much, Rita, and panelists. Audience members, if you missed any part of today's sessions, this was recorded. It's going to be on our YouTube channel. So please encourage your friends, your colleagues to head there for any of the recorded sessions from this series. Rita, Kelly, Drew, Floyd, Xavier, thank you. This has been an inspiration, and we'll hope to see you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.